Weekend Warriors. That was Christian McCaffrey. You heard him. He said, I suck. Because everybody else kind of got a piece of the pie in this offense. Brock Purdy throws for 3 touchdowns, 295 yards. A big day for the San Francisco offense. A big day. We had a really good early line alert, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
I had San Francisco -3 over Jacksonville.
I had Steelers -3, that covered.
We were
but
4 for
I
4.
think
Yeah.
it's two.
I took the Cowboys -16.5.
Good job, fellas.
Yeah. And
It
Lawrence
just-
said Lawrence took
Money line.
Cardinals money
Arizona.
line. There you go.
You love to
We're
see
making
it.
you money.
And you
Making
love to see Brock Purdy.
You can send 10% of your winnings to NBC Sports here in Stamford, Connecticut, care of Matthew.
Where would that
Barry,
go?
I will dish it out. You can trust me. Just send all the winnings to me, and I will distribute it among the
Popcorn
staff.
machine
sharing.
for the studio.
Staff.
Yes.
I'm very trustworthy.
Better at sharing money than popcorn.
Yes, I'm absolutely. Yeah, keep your hands, your grubby mitts
Yeah.
off my popcorn.
I wouldn't want a piece of it.
Yeah.
Big day for Brock Purdy against a tough Jacksonville team. And when you look at Brock Purdy's upcoming schedule here, Matthew, Jay kind of alluded to, don't rule him out entirely of the MVP race. The arrow is pointing back up for Purdy's season all of a sudden.
It really is. Look, what do you know? Getting good players back helps your
a
offense. He got
difference.
Trent Williams back. He got Deebo Samuel back as well. He's had 6 games with Deebo on the field. He's averaging over 20 fantasy points per game when Deebo is out there, including this past week when he got 23.8 against the Swaguars. Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, 2 of the next 3 that he plays, bottom 5 in pass defense. The other team he plays, Seattle, we just saw Sam Howell throw all over them as well. 3rd straight game with over 270 passing yards as well. He's back to being a, top 12-ish quarterback. Again, doesn't run a ton, but given the weapons that they have there, this was a dominating performance by the 49ers, and now they're home to Tampa Bay in Week 11.
They absolutely trucked Jacksonvile. That was
Yes.
embarrassing for the Jags.
Lawrence's
some
worst
people were
game in a
shocked
while.
that the Jags were they were 3-point dogs at home, that was probably not enough respect for the Jags because they had a better record than the Niners. Niners are the best team in football, I think, when they're fully healthy. And Purdy, not only when he has his good players back is he good, when he's not concussed, he's good as well. So I think that was a key to it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It was so embarrassing for the Jaguars. Such a, to your point, absolute trucking that producer Steven D'Agostino, who is a diehard Jaguars fan, I'm surprised he showed his face at work today. I thought for sure he was calling in sick and we'd be stuck with Pete. You know what I mean?
Stuck with Pete.
Yeah.
Pete
but,
catching strays.
But, we'll have
No.
Pete tomorrow.
Steven's
We're
very
stuck
much-
with Pete tomorrow.
Steven's very much on to Tennessee.
Yeah,
On to
he's a
Tennessee.
professional.
On to Will Levis.
Yeah.
Let's not mess with this Nick Bosa, Chase Young stuff. Let's face Will Levis.
Our next one here from the Weekend Warriors, Brian Robinson. He only had 8 carries for 38 yards, but this part, Jay, I don't think anybody saw coming. 6 catches for 119 yards and 1 touchdown for Brian Robinson through the air.
Yeah, he had a 20-yard touchdown reception towards the end of last season where he looked amazing on it. And I was like,
He's got good hands.
why don't they feed him the ball more? Because he's so dangerous when he's running in space.
They basically ran the same play twice, which was, in essence, Howell gets the ball, he rolls to his left, and Robinson sort of takes off, and he kind of sidearms it to him, and he just sprints down the sideline.
It's a catch and run ball.
It's a catch and run ball. So, and they ran that play twice, and both times it really worked. One was a very long touchdown. Another one was for a big long gain as well. One was 51 yards, one was 48 yards. That accounted for 65% of his fantasy points in this game. But the fact is that he is a good pass catcher. They can use him in the game. And here's the thing that's exciting to me: the Giants are up next.
Yeah.
They're home to the Giants. Now, make no mistake, the Commanders will lose this game because that's the kind of team they are. We always lose to the Giants. We always get screwed. Tommy DeVito's going to have the game of his life. Make no mistake about it. But Brian Robinson should be effective against the Giants.
You've got to feel great about Sam Howell. I think he's legitimately good. He's a legitimately good quarterback. He's leading the league in passing yards. I know they throw it at an insane rate. By the way, second is CJ Stroud. So good luck if you had a bet on that top 2 before the season. Could have had whatever odds you wanted. But no, he looks legitimately good.
By the way, so in our show league, my 2 quarterbacks are Sam Howell and Jalen Hurts. And I didn't have Jalen Hurts available to me yesterday. And so I don't have a third quarterback. My third quarterback was actually Tannehill, the 12-team 2-quarterback league. So, and he's gone, and I, because I've been in first place for so long, I didn't have somebody like Levis. It's been hard for me to get people on the waiver wire. And I played Connor head-to-head. Connor had an amazing game. 180 points he puts up.
Second highest scoring in the league.
Second highest scoring in the league.
By a good margin.
By a good margin. Like, you put up an unbelievable. And
yet I lost by 8 points.
Wow.
8
thanks
points.
to future Hall of Famer Sam Howell.
The story of my season is I beat Connor the week before, but I scored about 130.
Yeah.
I still got the W somehow.
Yeah.
It's one of those seasons for me.
I drag
so
everyone
far.
down to my level, and the Steelers.
You
I don't
really are.
Tomlin.
I said it at the draft.
Matt
I don't know
Canada,
what
don't
you
forget
guys
that.
should not have let me get. I started off with Hurts, and you shouldn't have let me get my guy 8 and my guy I'm on Ross St. Brown.
I
You let
said
me
this-
get my ride or die and my boy 8.
I said the same thing about me and Dalton Schultz. You should never let me get Dalton Schultz, and then I cut him, unfortunately.
I want to ask you a
Cut
non-fantasy
Singletary.
question.
Yeah.
If the
No,
Commanders,
serious.
if the Commanders move on from Ron Rivera, 1, would you give Eric Bieniemy a head coaching look, or 2, would you do everything you possibly can to make sure he stays on as the OC with the new staff?
That's a great question. It depends on who the head coach is.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, because here's like.
You get Ben Johnson.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
yes.
Like, one of the guys I kind of want is I want Ben Johnson. Because
Right.
I think Ben Johnson's going to be a head coach next year. Like, he's going to be.
And it's
right?
his offense wherever he goes.
Right, exactly. So, but if you got, I don't know. But
Mike
like,
McDonald, the Ravens DC, who's like a hot name
Or
right
Jim
now.
Schwartz or something.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Then, do everything you can to keep Bieniemy 100%. But yes, I think to your point, yes, I think Sam Howell has proven, and just to bring it to fantasy, like if you have him in Dynasty, I think you're excited about it. I think Sam Howell has proven he's a legitimate NFL caliber starting quarterback.
Our next
Like,
weekend.
there are flaws in his games, but he does enough things every game where you're like, all right.
Yeah, make some next level throws.
Okay. Hey, now I can dig that. You're almost Josh Dobbs-esque. Yeah. No. Anyway,
Okay.
no. I love future Hall of Famer Sam Howell. I've been on. Like, you guys all mocked me in the preseason saying I'm being a homer, and I was being a homer, but I was a correct homer,
Yes.
and that's the important part. All right.
Tyler Lockett, our next weekend warrior, he catches 8 passes on 10 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. Comes in as wide receiver 8 before Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Rock solid.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, guess what? He faced the Commanders. And, him and DK Metcalf, we said we thought this was a get-right game for Geno, for DK, for Lockett, and it was, because the Commanders are terrible on defense. They're awful. They're not so good. They're stinky. There you go, right there. That was the touchdown at the end of the game. Great. Lockett played very well. He's now, since their bye week, he's had at least 8 targets in 4 of the 5 games as well. They're at the Rams next week as well. 20 or more fantasy points in 2 of the past 3 games. It does feel like you feel better about Lockett these days than Metcalf in that passing attack.
Much like the Lions' backfield with Gibbs and Montgomery, the Steelers' backfield, both runners productive. Jalen Warren, 15 carries, tops 100 yards and gets a touchdown. Najee Harris, 16 carries, 82 yards, and also gets a touchdown. A good day for the Steelers' backfield that they really have to lean on right now.
Yes. The O-line seems to be better with Broderick Jones in there really doing work. I will say, as much as Najee Harris is my man, I don't think I've ever seen him make a guy miss. Like, it just feels like they have so much more juice when Jalen Warren is in there, and that was reflected yesterday with Warren.
But I think what the positives are, and I know Matt Canada gets a ton of crap, but I will just say this. It feels like they're at least mixing things up here, right? 4th straight game for Najee Harris with a 12.5% target share. They're starting to involve him in the passing game. And then Jalen Warren, 17 touches yesterday. He's now had back-to-back games with over 100 total yards. They're starting to use Jalen Warren as a runner, Najee Harris as a pass catcher, and they still obviously do the reverse as well. But I think it's mixing up the offense enough there that teams are like, oh, we don't know what, because prior it was just like, oh, Harris is in, that's a run. Warren's in, they're going to pass. Pickett looks terrible, by the way.
Yeah, they're in trouble against Cleveland next week.
Yes,
Full
they are.
alarm on Kenny Pickett
Yeah,
right now. but
exactly.
Good for the
Zach
Steelers to
Wilson
keep
for
winning.
Kenny Pickett. Who says no?
Everybody involved. Every fan base involved.
America.
I'd rather have Pickett. You know what I'd really rather have, though, is Dak Prescott, who
Yes,
has been,
he's been
his
very
past
good.
4 games, he has been the best quarterback in the NFL. He's playing at an insanely high level at the moment. He's the number 1 quarterback in fantasy this week today, 37.9 fantasy points. He is just rolling at the moment, and CD Lamb has been typically the big beneficiary, as he was yesterday, but the other guy, Matthew, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, you know what, look, so 51% of his receiving yards came in this game, right? He had just 165 yards on the season entering this game. Having said that, it's taken a while. It's clear that if you want a wide receiver other CeeDee Lamb, like Brandon, before the year you were like, Gallup or Cooks or Gallup. It's clear. Cooks is the guy there, and they're passing so effectively. We'll talk about Cooks more tomorrow on the Waiver Wire show, I am sure. To me, the concern here isn't Cooks or Ferguson. We can talk that further.
Legitimately good.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.